Oh yes. Hello. I'm Megatron, and you're listening to Altered Geek Unlimited. Excellent. Yes.
You're tuned in to Altered Geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. This is a continuing edition from last week where myself, Mike the Birdman Don, and Alex join us to discuss The Mandalorian. The epicness that is The Mandalorian.
Yes. You mean the only Star Wars? Don't tell me there's anything else right now. Which, like, I watched all 8 episodes and then went, okay, when's episode 9? Because in my head I didn't realize that I saw a finale. Like, that's how you know it's a good finale, when there's just enough cliffhanger that it's not like overtly cliffhangery, but you're like, when's the next episode? But anyway, getting back to the beginning of it, this is a really good show. Like, we're talking Game of Thrones level production values, which is like unheard of for something not HBO.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is something that had been talked about since like the mid 90s. There was always going to be a Star Wars live action TV show, and it was thought to be unfilmable for years. And the fact that we didn't get a lot of set leaks from this, a lot of this was kept under wraps. Nobody knew about friggin' Baby Yoda until the first episode premiered.
Yeah.
The critics were protected from it. We only saw the first 20 minutes of it at a press screening. All of us saw it on November 8th when it came out, and it was handled with care by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and they were left alone. And anybody
there's a third and fourth person. There's a director that's doing the
Obi-Wan series,
and Taika Waititi did, I think, 2 or 3 episodes, and he was also of the voice of the robot, the IG robot.
Yeah, Taika Waititi did the first episode and the last episode, I think. And yeah, he played IG-11. The girl who's doing the Obi-Wan series directed the 3rd episode, which gave us a huge look into Mandalorian culture. And we found out more about the Great Purge and everything, and how clan structure works. And now, after seeing that episode, I was like, okay, I'm not worried at all.
Well, and the thing is, the show cost $100 million, which is, you think it sounds like crazy, but not in the days of like Game of Thrones and all these shows costing that kind of money now. Even 10 years ago, like a season of a show was generally around $50 million to produce, but that was for 22 episodes for like a CSI or something like that. So the fact that these are 8 episodes that cost $100 million, they're smart. They're variable length. Some episodes are 31 minutes long. Some are 48 minutes long. It's however long the story dictates is what makes it. So it's all the more amazing that they did roughly, I would say, 5 to 6 hours of television for $100 million. That, and it's not, I don't even think it's my opinion. I think the consensus is this looks better than Rise of Skywalker, and Rise of Skywalker cost $270 million because there's less green screen. It's almost all physical.
Yeah, it's almost all practical effects. I mean, and they insisted Baby Yoda be a practical effect.
Yeah, I think it's only the eyes blinking that are CG, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, I can't wait to get the inevitable book on The Mandalorian.
I would love to get a Blu-ray set, or because this might be the first show that Disney warrants a 4K release for. Because
I hope so.
It's so fan, and there's got to be a wealth of behind the scenes productions on this. Now, not just for how good it looks and the sound design and everything, the pacing. Like, we've talked in the past about how bad the pacing has been on the Star Wars movies. This is paced perfect for a TV show. It's not slow in that you're going to get bored, but it's not so fast. It's paced as a space western should be.
Yeah, and I really, really enjoy it. On a whole, I wasn't too keen on the idea to begin with, to be honest, and I really like his character. I like the some of the memorable lines that came out of it, instead of like "May the Force be with you." It's, this is the way, or I have spoken, which I have fun using against Blanchard. But you will do as I say. No, I won't. I have spoken, and then just end the call. But no, I mean, I enjoyed that. I liked the Jawa episode.
Yep.
Where he's like popping him off with the sandcrawler.
Yeah, even the color palette looks more like it's not as
it reminds me of the original trilogy.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. It
yeah.
feels like the OT.
And I looked, this is filmed digitally, but they're using a muted color palette on purpose. It's like, what if you mixed the color palette of Rogue One and Empire together? That's what you get. So not to mention, like, they got some famous actors in this that I was not expecting, and I purposely didn't really want to read who was going to be in it, but like Nick Nolte came out of nowhere, and
oh yeah,
it kind of looks like him. Like, they didn't have to do too much makeup, I don't think, on his character. And then you have Gina Carano, like the first big woman in MMA to be in it, so she didn't have to worry about getting a stunt woman to do her work. And for somebody who's like a fighter, essentially, she's a surprisingly good actress. Like, she's way better than Ronda Rousey's ever going to be.
Yeah.
like significantly, like if you didn't know she was a fighter and you just saw her work since she's become an actress, you just think, oh, she's a woman action star. Like, you wouldn't think of the fact that she used to beat people up for a living.
Yeah, you wouldn't think about that at all.
Then you've also got Giancarlo Esposito in the last few episodes as the Moth, and he's fantastic and everything. And for those who don't know who that name, it's Gus from Breaking Bad. Then you've got the man himself, Apollo Creed's in it. Although when I see him, all I can think of is his character from
Arrested Development.
No, from Predator.
I think of him from Happy Gilmore.
You son of a bitch. Why am I drawing a blank on his actual name though? Oh no, Carl Weathers, and he's great.
Happy Gilmore.
He looks great for a guy in his 70s. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, in really good shape. Still able to do all the action stuff himself, and could not have thought of better casting than Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian himself. He's going to have a stellar year. He's finishing off the year with season 1 of this ending. He then is going to be the main antagonist, I believe, for Wonder Woman 84, and he has that 1980 smarm down pat. And then come September or October, we've got another season of The Mandalorian.
Isn't he in Dune too, or am I mistaken?
I believe he might be. Like, he is in demand. Like, and most of us, like, he was a somewhat decent character actor, but for a while now. But most of us really got to know him playing Oberon on the
Game of Thrones.
Season 4 of Game of Thrones.
4.
Was it?
Yeah.
One of the most memorable characters in the show, and probably one of them. Like, everybody dies in that show, so but he's one of the most memorable deaths, and to the point where people were mad, like, I want more of him. It's like, that's how you know he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And did you see his interview when that just came out recently? I forget which comic event it was at, but he was talking about how when he was cast. And it's funny, we only really know him from, like, he puts on a fairly thick Mexican sort of accent in almost everything he plays, the kind of characters he's played, but he has like no accent at all when he talks. And it's hilarious. He goes, I was interviewed and I was brought in, and they're like, well, would you like to play? He's like, he goes, I saw all these pictures like on the walls from Star Wars, and he goes, and it was like I was a little kid again. And he goes, would you like me to play somebody? And they're like, yeah, we want you to be the Mandalorian. And he goes, wait, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. And he goes, I was like sheepishly grinning, but in my head, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So, like, you couldn't have cast him better. And even all the like other supporting actors they get for bits and pieces here, the only ones that sort of stood out were like, I didn't know there was Boston in space. but apparently there is because
Bill Burr. Yeah.
Bill Burr's in it, and the Kurgan himself,
Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown plays a devil man, which is not too much of a stretch. And who is the
woman?
Yeah,
she was the woman who played Nymphadora Tonks in Harry Potter, but was also Asha in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
she was the wildling.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I sort of recognized her face, but she had makeup on. And the one that played her brother, I couldn't figure out who that was, but I don't. He's a character.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But like it was a fairly small cast, all things considered, but very, very well done. And then, of course, like out of the blue, you have famous German director playing
Werner Herzog. Yeah.
Out of the like what? Why is this German director in this? And then I realized why not? Because he has a sinister German voice. So
I thought it was funny that in that episode they also had the voice actor for Anakin Skywalker being the rebel pilot.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah, like this show had some of the strongest supporting cast I've seen in a really long time, and it never distracted from the episode itself. I mean, I was really kind of sad that Ming-Na Wen didn't get to do more in episode 5, where she was the Imperial assassin on the run. But still, that was cool. Plus, they went back to Tatooine because why not? But yeah, there wasn't a lot of wasted time in this show. There is one Easter egg. I think it'll become more relevant in season 2, where you see Ming-Na Wen's character die in the desert. Somebody with boots and a cape approaches, but that's not the Moff character because the costume's different.
Mm-hmm.
There was rumors it was Boba Fett. It's probably not, but I think that'll become relevant next season.
Definitely. And I'm not somebody who was into the like EU stuff, but from what I've been reading, they're saying that like, all the stuff that was taken away as not being canon anymore, they're kind of reintroducing bits and pieces through this show.
Yeah, like it would not surprise me to see more EU elements established. Like the fact that we got live action Darksaber, holy shit. I never expected that.
I saw that.
That was cool.
I was like, I have no idea what that is. I had to go look it up. I'm like, that's not a lightsaber, is it?
They had it in the Clone Wars, and then they had it in Rebels.
Well, then I was reading into it. So basically, it was the first Mandalorian that became a Jedi, made it, right?
Yeah.
And then became a ruler with an iron fist. So the question here being, is the Moff, is he actually a Sith?
No, he took it during the siege of Mandalore.
Okay, so he
took it as a symbol of power.
So he doesn't really know how to wield it.
No, he's just a guy who took it.
So, and in my head, like I've had dream, like it's been a while since I've dreamt about a TV show, probably since Game of Thrones. But like I had a dream where I was like, we were finishing 4 or 5 seasons of The Mandalorian, and in my dream, how the show ended was Pedro Pascal's character dies, as an older man. It flashes forward, and we're talking because of when this takes place. It's 20 years have gone by. He dies, and it ends with them like revealing that the Mandalorian will return in a movie. And you're like, how? And then it just shows a adolescent teenager Yoda putting on the Mandalorian armor and helmet, and then pulling out a lightsaber, and it'd be like, holy shit! And the lightsaber being like one of those neutral ones, because the explanation is there's no more Jedi, there's no more Sith really, but a neutral party, and that's how they could work the character into being in the present day canon. Is basically he's gone and screwed off to another planet. It has nothing to do with, is basically being a bounty hunter and hiding the fact that he is a Force user Jedi.
Yeah, like there's so many possibilities for this show to open up into the expanded universe that I'm genuinely excited. The Mandalorian made me excited to be a Star Wars fan again, and I haven't been able to say that with the new movies at all. Like The Force Awakens had me excited for a while. The Last Jedi kind of left me feeling a little cold. Rise of Skywalker, see last week's episode. But The Mandalorian had me excited. in love again.
Could you
with Star Wars.
imagine
So much so
how
I may run a Star Wars game for my friends.
Yeah, could you imagine how incredibly mad and bad off fans would be if there wasn't this show and Rise of Skywalker came out? How down on the franchise everybody would be. I feel like this is single-handedly saving the franchise from the disaster that the movie is. And yes, the movie's going to make a lot of money. And yes, there's going to be, 40% or 50% of people that end up liking it. But I'm feeling like the hardcore fans are really people at anybody that uses their brain for logic. We have friends that said that they loved it. And all I can think of is, why are they so they're so, oh, you're gonna have to beat me, but they're fucking retarded. Like, I swear, we have friends, very close friends that we podcast with that like it. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like,
did we see the same movie? Because I'm wondering.
Like, I thought you were an intelligent person, but kind of like, but I was like, okay, you can like what you want to like, but you don't really have any reasons to like it that make any sense. This is going to be the saving grace of the franchise. Now, as long as Kathleen Kennedy doesn't get her dirty paws into it and really try to change things for season 2.
Yeah, just
because
keep
she
your
was
damn hands off of it.
She was hands off here. I think it's all going to depend on having Favreau to play interference between studio interference and the creative direction that the director and the writers want to go. He has enough clout to do that, but if he decides that he wants to remove himself from the show, then I would start to get very worried.
Then we got problems.
Because there's really nobody else like that has that amount of clout with Disney proper or with Marvel proper to run interference against her or any other corporate meddling.
Mm-hmm.
See, I almost wonder if they're going to leave him alone per se, because he's done a couple of Disney movies, done a couple of Marvel movies. He's doing Star Wars. Pretty much everything he touches turns into gold. So I mean, they'd be stupid to mess with him.
It would be nice if because Kathleen Kennedy has, to be honest, it's not. I'm not trying to rag on her. She has other jobs that she's doing there. I almost feel like she has her hands in too many of the pies. Maybe she should be an executive overhead, like, she's just oversee certain things, maybe have a few properties, blah, 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 have this under your belt, but maybe maybe even promote or give the position to Favreau as, head of Star Wars creative moving forward, just to have a cohesive vision.
I can see that.
I think it'd be a really good idea. Yeah. I mean, as long as they let people with a vision and a creative through line have a very strong say, then I think we'll be okay.
Well, and she could have she could still have the final, name on the credits as executive producer to make herself feel good, but it would also insulate her from any negativity. And she probably would like that. She's had enough negativity going forward. And looking at what Favreau has done for them, he made the Iron Man 1 and 2 films, which made them looks like between the Iron Man 1 and 2 he made them 1.2 billion, no, after the budgets he made them $1 billion on top of, that's after taking the budget into account. And then he made them the Jungle Book movie, the new one, live action, that made them 800 million in cash, like pure cash. And then he made the Lion King for them, and that made them 1.4 billion profit. So like he's made more money for them than Kathleen Kennedy ever did, to be honest. She manages the money that's there and hasn't really made any money, but he's one of the guys who's producing, directing, writing, and making them, like, he's made them more money than probably any other director since the merger. So that would be nice.
How much you want to bet in season 2 they will bring Boba Fett?
Well, they said they're bringing in other established people.
I think they'd be stupid to. I think leaving him dead's probably a good idea, or save him for the final season.
It'll be one of the Hutts that they bring in.
Oh yeah, Hutts is what they're. They are talking about that now because they've brought in the Gamorrean guards, who are kind of known to be like enforcers for the Hutts. So them going to now Hutta or Nar Shaddaa would be a really smart idea.
How smart would it be if they brought in a Jar Jar or something?
I think visiting Naboo wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Bring in a Jar Jar, but make him serious. Like completely change the character.
Like a Gungan crime lord or something.
You know what I mean? Like somebody
because there are Gungans
goofy, yeah.
in the universe at large who are not as nice as Jar Jar was. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, bring back some of these classic races we've seen in the prequels and the original trilogy, flesh them out a little bit. Because I remember when we first saw the Mos Eisley Cantina, there's the Hammerhead races, which is the Iorthians. I'd love to see those guys, or the Duros, who are basically the gray aliens that we see in sci-fi, except they're blue.
Because this takes place after Jedi. I mean, there's
5 years after Return of the Jedi.
There's no reason why, if this starts to get heavy when it comes to getting close to the front lines of like, I guess, the New Republic getting involved, there's no reason why we might not see Admiral Akbar.
Yeah,
or like even if he's not like interacting with them directly, like there could be a reason for the Mandalorian to sneak aboard the Admiral's flagship and be basically witness to him, you know, holding a meeting or something and have to go by.
Like, I'd love to see them visit other planets, like you just mentioned, Akbar. If they went to Mon Cal and we saw the Quarrens, for example, who are the squid face people. That'd be really cool to see them do something like that.
You know,
I mean,
you know,
one of the things
they're probably going to go, even though he's too old, they won't really show him. They're probably going to go to Cloud City.
Yeah, they'll go to Bespin at some point because why not? Or they'll talk about stuff that's been mentioned in lore, like Ord Mantell or stuff like that. Ord Mantell is like it's like a grungy spaceport, but there's a reason it's like a junkyard planet. I'm trying to think, like, there's like 1,000 Star Wars worlds I can name, but I can't think of one off the top of my damn head right now.
Well, they'll probably, like, they're saying very specifically that expect a lot of people from the Skywalker thing. And then when they're saying Skywalker, that also means the newer film. So we'll probably see some of the people that weren't fleshed out well enough in Force Awakens show up in it.
Yeah, because although during the time of The Mandalorian, depending on how long this show runs, we may see leading up to the Battle of Jakku. Jakku takes place 15 years after the end of Return of the Jedi, which then Grand Vizier Mas Amedda, so if you remember the blue guy from the prequel trilogy, he basically surrenders the Empire. If we went back to Coruscant, that would impress the hell out of me to see Coruscant again, see the Imperial Palace, to see what happened to the Jedi Temple, because the Jedi Temple was turned into the Imperial Palace because Emperor Palpatine was a giant dick. But to see what happened to the Imperial Remnant, because the Imperial Remnant still controls parts of the galaxy in the Mandalorian's timeline. Like, there are parts that are still wild. The New Republic is considered to be the government, but it doesn't have the fleets and the military strength to hold it. So there is still a galactic civil war going on, despite the fact that the Empire has been more or less defeated. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this. I kind of hope we see more of the underside of the Star Wars universe, like we have been seeing. Like I said, show me more bounty hunter stuff. Show me more. I want to see, as Alex brought up, now Hutta. Show me the Hutts. Give me that. Show me the Black Sun.
Would they go to Geonosis, do you think?
I think it might get a mention because I know Geonosis is a mid-rim world. But if you told me the Mandalorian landed on a world that had battle droids as security forces, that would be badass.
Well, these episodes were very desert and very
forest.
Very desert and forest. They didn't really do jungle-y stuff, but so they could do Kashyyyk or they could do Hoth to really shake up the locales if they wanted to.
They'd have no reason to go back to Hoth, but that being said,
they wouldn't have a reason except to hide Well, he had,
Yeah.
like, let's say he had to do repairs or had to hide there, or there was some, he finds the old rebel base, the remnants of it, and hides in there or something.
You know what would be cool for me? Speaking of rebel bases, if they had a reason to go to Dantooine. Dantooine was just a throwaway line in A New Hope. They say, we found the remains of a rebel base on Dantooine, but it has been abandoned for some time. And Governor Tarkin's like, well, fuck. And then they blow up Alderaan. You know what would make me really cool? If the Mandalorian in his ship had to visit the asteroid field with Cara Dune. This is what's left of Alderaan. And you just see the asteroid field. That would impress the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now there's Alderaan. What was I'm trying to think of the planets I played in the Old Republic MMO. Because some of them are the same, some of them are, obviously gone. But I mean, I guess they could go to Yavin's Force like rebel base or something.
That'd be cool to see. Because I bet you it's probably like a historical site or something.
Or why not go to Corellia?
Yes, because we've already done it in Solo. Let's go back. Why not? Show me.
And it would be
Cinear Fleet shipyards.
Well, it would be a good way to some of the characters that were in that Solo movie could still be there.
Yep, that's entirely possible.
And that's the most, I don't know, like Blade Runner-esque planet. It's wet, it's futuristic, it's industrial, it's a different locale, so it's not going to be more of the same. I think what they're going to want to do with the next season is bring in a lot of contrast. So that's why I was suggesting Jungle Planet, dripping wet future dystopia planet, Hoth, but like. That's sort of dream stuff. But as far as the production of the show this season, the storyline, I couldn't think of a better pace for a show. Like everything that was introduced well. Here's the thing: the comedy works because it wasn't silly. Like
it's dry, but it just kind of it's just circumstance.
Yeah, and it's a little and it's subtle things too that can be funny and also poignant, like how he slowly grows to become a dad, basically, and he takes the little ball off of his gear shift and hands it to him as just a play toy. Am I the
magic hand line?
Well, I love the part where people were having fun with it, with adding music to it, but where Baby Yoda presses controls and just kind of looks at him while he's flying his ship. Just leans forward and touches one of the buttons, and then it does something, and then he leans forward and does it again, and it starts all these alarms going off, and the ship starts jolting. And
yeah, well, and like, am I the only one? Like, we've all watched all of it now, right? Like, we're all caught.
Oh God,
yeah. Am I the only one that was like, I don't get emotional when it comes to usually watching, that was almost yelling at the TV, don't hit the fucking baby, when he had him in the, it's like, stop it, he's crying, you can hear him crying, stop it.
Well, one of them was Jason Sudeikis, and then somebody else being the other.
But I was like, do not do that. And I was like, oh no, now you're gonna get it.
Well, then IG-88 comes over and just lays him out.
Oh yeah.
When when IG-11 died, there was genuine emotion there. Like I felt that, and that was, you know what's amazing? Someone put this out on Twitter, and it's accurate as hell. IG-88 got more character development in 3 episodes than most of the characters did in the new trilogy of movies.
Exactly. And not to mention, the main character actually had an arc where they evolved. Did you notice that, Rey kind of didn't really change at all? Like the main characters of the new Skywalker trilogy really didn't evolve or change from who they were at all. They had no training,
or they were inconsistent.
Yeah, like or they failed. Like Rey fails at being a Jedi. Like fails bad. like can't even control her emotions. And it's like, okay, so why should we care about anything she does? Whereas in The Mandalorian, he goes, and it's a simple story arc, but like he goes from being a loner, paranoid, hateful of all droids, to at least trusting one droid and getting the family he always wanted, secretly.
With through other bounty hunters, the robot, and then the baby.
And even he gets even though he tried to kill him once, he gets a father figure out of the
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, exactly. Carl Weathers becomes his father figure. He gets not a wife, but more of a, could be a wife, but more of a sister. In the shock trooper. And he gets this weird sort of family, and even he gets a built-in babysitter on Tatooine. And he unfortunately loses his strange uncle, Nick Nolte's character. I can't remember his name now.
Cooey, I think.
Yeah. And I saw people comparing this to the Japanese movie series and book series Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah, basically,
which is basically it's a samurai, or he's a Ronin, which is what he is, because he no longer has a master because he was kicked out of the guild, and he's all alone, and he's basically moving across Japan or the universe, protecting a little baby, and he's a wounded old soldier with scars of the past that he has to work through. So it's like that's basically what Star Wars was always. It was a samurai movie mixed with a Western. And this is the closest to that we've seen since literally the original Star Wars New Hope.
I could see that.
Yeah, like there's something very authentic about how The Mandalorian has handled the source material and the themes of it. Yeah, it's basically Lone Wolf and Cub, and that's fine. It's got elements of the spaghetti Western. And I hear people complaining about how the Mandalorian doesn't do anything new. It doesn't have to. It just has to do what it's doing well. It just has to make you care about the characters, which it does. It gives you stakes for most of the episodes. Some of the episodes, I could argue, are filler, but they're entertaining filler. Like, you get a storyline is being propelled for the most part, but you get a lot of interesting characters along the way. Cara Dune, Griff, aka Carl Weathers, Taika Waititi's character, and you get a lot in 8 episodes that you didn't get with the new trilogy, and that I appreciate more so than a movie. A movie, yes, has a bigger budget and arguably a longer runtime, but I feel more intimate and familiar with these characters over 8 43-minute episodes than I did over the course of like 8 hours with the new movies. If you had me pick who I care more about between Rey and Finn and Poe, I'm choosing the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, and the rest of the characters from the Mandalorian.
We learn to care more for a character that doesn't talk than we do about anybody in the new movies.
Yeah, like
which is really telling.
Yeah, like there's outside of being a brilliant marketing tool, because the amount of Baby Yoda merch that's going to fly off the shelves in May is going to blow your minds. In fact, Blair got a pre-order for me for Christmas. I don't get this until it comes out in May. I got the official Baby Yoda with the little cup of soup and the frog. That thing's going to, I can only imagine what scalpers are going to want for that.
You just wait. I guarantee you that May the 4th, that week will probably be
trailer.
Well, that'll probably be when they drop the DVD or Blu-ray set, because they haven't said whether or not being on the streaming network if they're going to release home media, but it's Disney, they always do. Yeah. So whether it be a club exclusive or not, but fully expect McDonald's or somebody to have Happy Meal toys with May the 4th with Baby Yoda stuff, and those toys will be scarce.
Actually, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see any real fast food tie-ins for Star Wars.
It
There was the movie theater stuff, but
well, do you remember back in the day? I don't know if it's like now, if it's the same thing, but when the special editions came out, and at least when Phantom Menace came out, I'm not sure about the others. Didn't Taco Bell have the exclusive rights to the toys?
Yes, KFC Taco Bell did run episode 1. I don't remember anything for episode 2. Episode 3 was Burger King.
Because I remember the special editions all being like when they had the giant Vader cups, like, you know, where he had like the arms that would move that you put on top of the cup, and all the toys were Taco Bell. And there was a while where Taco Bell was getting some of the coolest stuff. Maybe it was because they had to deal with Fox or something.
I think so.
But yeah, like, think about this, like, you know, anything with Baby Yoda is going to sell. So there's going to be micro machines with Baby Yoda on top. There's going to be think about even like pencil erasers that are going to have Baby Yoda on it. It's going to be on absolutely everything. Oh, stupid me. You know where they're going to go in the next season, or they should go at least? Dagobah.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody there, right? But like,
Yoda's dead. Yeah.
And Luke at this point has not yet gone off to. He hasn't buggered off to Jedi Island yet. So this is when he's training people. Like, this is when they're hunting down the remnants. Like, so I could see Mark Hamill voicing Luke, you know, over the, you know, radio or something, or hearing it. Like, if they do an episode where they go and see, and you can see like Admiral Akbar, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a hologram of Luke talking. And like, and the main character
with that.
having no idea who he was, and having it be just the tertiary, just like nothing. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just like Luke is like have Luke mention he's on the hunt. They're catching all the last of, or they're trying to catch the rest of the Imperials, or have Luke mention, I think I'm going to start a school. Bam. There you go. Lore.
And just have it on a transmission or something.
Yeah, have it on like he's got like an R2 projection that they hand over to Admiral Akbar or somebody, you know, on another planet, which would be neat. But like, I almost get the feeling that like Baby Yoda might be compelled through the Force to, like, if they're trying to find others, like the whole point of this next season is finding his race. Well, maybe he would be drawn to Dagobah because of the residual effect of Yoda being there. And there is no reason for Yoda not to appear at some point as a Force ghost. Right? Like, they're because Yoda, being as sort of secretive as he was, it wouldn't surprise me if he had contact with this. Like for all we know, while the Skywalker stuff has been happening in the movies, there could be an entire, like, they're like, oh, it's the Last Jedi, blah blah, that in that Skywalker world. But for all we know, there is an entire planet way out in the middle of nowhere where, in secret, Force users have been training for the last 30 years in hiding, and we don't know about it. Because for all we know, like everybody, with the exception of Palpatine, that would have been able to sense, you know, Force users, they're all dead. Like, Luke didn't get enough training to like be able to sense out where people are, especially if they're like, you know, on some, like, I don't know about the Old Republic, but if there's like a planet that blocks away a lot of the signals or blah blah blah, there could easily be like, I'm not too in on was it Ahsoka, whatever her name was, but wasn't
Ahsoka
she
Tano, yeah.
wasn't she supposed to be training like a whole bunch of neutral Force users?
Something like that. There was her and Ezra, and Ezra's still alive at the end of Rebels.
Ahsoka's supposed to be too.
Well,
although it's funny you mentioned that,
wasn't
because
she supposed to show up in the trilogy? That's what I heard.
She did.
She was a voice at the end.
She was a voice, which means she's dead. However, that being said, Dave Filoni went on Twitter, posted a picture of Ahsoka standing next to Gandalf the Grey, saying, "I heard you were dead," and she's like, "I get that a lot." So, is Ahsoka dead? We don't really know. Dave Filoni says no. But Kathleen Kennedy may have other ideas for that.
Because that wouldn't that be the perfect thing? It's like, the idea is the Last Jedi. It can still fit with that continuity of, like, there is no more Jedi, or at least there isn't a current Jedi order, but there's a neutral order that doesn't follow the path of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be probably where Baby Yoda would be drawn to.
Yeah, if you gave me Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, I'd be so beyond pleased. There are rumors of Darth Maul appearing because Ray Park just posted a picture of himself on Twitter in full Darth Maul makeup.
He died in Rebels.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So, but then again, hey, it's Disney's canon. They can do what they want.
Well, I don't think they'll retcon Rebels. They had him.
I don't think they will either.
He'll be in the Obi-Wan series, though.
Yeah,
which is cool. So, I mean, I think I don't know what more we can say about these 8 episodes other than like
watch them now.
Yeah, highly anticipating the next ones, and I don't know how much rewatchability I'll have as far as rewatching it myself. I think I'll rewatch it once it comes on home video as we get closer to the launch of the second season, because it's still so fresh in my mind that like this is one of the few shows where I took in every single frame and memorized it to heart, which is not common for most TV shows.
Like, I memorize everything I watch. So I don't have to rewatch it. Maybe the last episode, but
I'm probably going to rewatch if I run a Star Wars like RPG for my friends. I'll probably set it during the Mandalorian timeline, like before the Battle of Jakku, but after the Return of the Jedi, and just kind of ignore the new series because no. But the Mandalorian is gold, so that's going to be my gold standard for Star Wars for the next ever.
Yeah, Resistance. I'm not even.
Resistance is it's okay, but it's not as good as Rebels.
Well, and the animation kind of sucks.
It's weird. I don't like it.
I tried looking at the animation for Rebels and Resistance. Like they just look like a huge step down from Clone Wars. I've seen
they used Tron Uprising and Transformers Robots in Disguise, like that animation style.
It's dramatically lower quality, clearly lower budget. Like I'm 1.5 seasons into Clone Wars now. I know I'm super far behind, but guess what? I guess I'm not that far behind because there's going to be a new season. So as long as I catch up with that before, I think, what is it, spring when they're launching?
February.
Oh shit. Okay.
Get watching.
Okay. I will be watching because there is was it 6 seasons and
5.
then 5 and then a 6th season on Netflix or something?
6th season will be exclusive to Disney Plus.
No, I thought that their 6th season was like a 8-episode arc or something they finished off on.
Maybe it was on Netflix. I think you may be right. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Sorry, 5 seasons on the Cartoon Network. Season 6 was 13 episodes on Netflix, and that was in 2014. And then I guess season 7 is what's coming.
Yeah. You'd be correct.
And that was like when I saw even the first season of that show, visual quality wise, way better than I was ever expecting a cartoon to look, especially the space stuff. So, as long as they can keep that kind of quality going, if that's the quality they want to go with on any shows they produce animated wise on the network, I think the future of Star Wars won't be movies.
I'd be okay with it being animated as long as the quality is up there and as long as the original characters sound like they should. I'm totally fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, if you told me, okay, guys, Star Wars fans, you've been waiting for the Thrawn trilogy animated, we're going to give it to you. Give us 3 years. I will wait with bated friggin' breath. I'm down.
So, yeah.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about when it comes to all this EU shit. Trust me, the Thrawn trilogy was the gold standard, and it set the bar really, really friggin' high back in the day. And there's a great audiobook, which is read by one guy, but he does all the voices, and they sound really, really on point, actually. So, yeah. Check his Grand Admiral Thrawn is especially good. But anyway, from the Chiss Ascendancy. Anyway, this has been.
Alrighty, so I think this about wraps this episode up. So, do you think that they'll bring in Ezra in The Mandalorian?
I think it would be a really cool cameo. I really do. If they did Ezra and Ahsoka, or even the crew of the Ghost at some point, because I know Hera is still alive because the Ghost shows up at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Sure, I'm totally down
Well,
for that.
they also have him at the end of Rebels too,
Yeah. So
which
why
takes
not?
place during the fall of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the possibility that they could all be out there looking for Ezra, and it would be kind of neat if, because they're not going to leave Baby Yoda in the show forever.
No, they'll need a new thing to move forward.
Yeah. So it would be interesting if they had Ezra take on the Baby Yoda, like just take him, off his hands as somebody that can be trusted, that doesn't like the Empire, and because he's got kind of that, not a full Jedi like background where he's willing to do some things that Jedi weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him playing a part. But yeah. So anyways, we have been
Alex.
I've been Mike the Birdman Dodd.
And I've been Steve Megatron Phillips. You can catch us next time on Altered Geek. And around the time this episode's coming out, there should be a Crisis on Infinite Earths episode of Twig following this. Shortly thereafter, anyway. So, until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.